Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to tonight's episode of the Chart Chronicles. Sorry, we are a day late. That's my fault. I am feeling a little bit better. Still not 100%, but I am better. So as you can see, we're joined by Steve. We haven't got Sid tonight. She's football training, so he's got a little gap. Callum and Paul. Steve, I'll start with you. How are you, mate? You look all lonely there on your own. This is a great start, just saying. It's the best start I've ever had.
He's emotional, that's why he can't speak.
Freeze frame.
Steve is so shocked by the arrival of Lyndon Dykes that he's frozen.
Emma, that was his face when the Lyndon Dykes news came through.
Oh, no, he's fucking...
We thought you were so emotional, Steve. You froze, your expression just...
It looked like you all froze. It was really weird. Okay, I know what that was all about.
I went, Steve, how are you? And you just went... We thought that was your Lyndon Dykes kind of...
Oh, okay, everything froze at this then.
How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm very good, thank you, Emma. I'm very well, thanks. All good, thanks. Minus Sydney tonight. She's at football training, so yeah, we're all good here. Yeah.
Good. And Paul, how are you, my love?
Yeah, fine, Emma. Yeah, just putting Saturday behind us, I think. Looking forward to Sheffield. Hopefully it'll be the same result. Fingers crossed. But no, really looking forward to it. Hopefully a 3 o'clock kickoff at the Valley. So yeah, really hopefully we can the boys can deliver.
Yeah, and Callum, last but not least, how are you?
I'm good. Tired. I saw Biffy Clyro last night, but...
Yeah, how were they? Because last time I saw them, they supported Bon Jovi at Twickenham. So we're going back some years, and I thought they were absolutely awful. So...
Fair enough. Music's very subjective, isn't it? That's one of those. But no, it was good. I enjoyed it, but yeah,
just a bit tired.
Yeah. I'm getting old, Emma, now.
And not so. You're the youngest one here, I think. Anyway, tonight I think Chelsea game's done, so we won't bother talking about that because we are running a little bit late. So we're going to talk about the transfer window, which has obviously seen 2 new signings come in this week. And I know for a fact we're probably going to have quite a bit to say about both of them. And we will obviously look forward to the Sheffield United game on Saturday. So I'll just say good evening to a couple of people in the chat. Good evening to Mark. And good evening to Sam. There are more people in there, but no one's saying hello. So, but evening, whoever's watching, thank you for joining us. So, obviously, we signed, is it Harry Clark, isn't it? I get his name right. Yeah. Harry Clark from Ipswich. We don't have the best record of signing players from Ipswich. So I shall look forward to seeing him play. But, Steve, what's your thoughts on that signing, first of all?
Yeah, I've got a bit of hope in regards to that one, to be honest with you. Everything that I've read in regards to social media for the 2 seasons that he did really well at Ipswich, he's got some great comment from some of their ex-players, from some of their fans, which is good. And he's got a bit of experience in this division. So yeah, I'm hoping that one works out well. He looks like a tall, athletic player. We need someone else at the moment just to cover in potential positions at the back there, and if that solidifies any part of the back 4, back 5, whatever you want to call it, back 3, then so be it. Let's hope that's a good one.
Yeah, and Callum, I'll come to you because I think what was concerning for me is his lack of game time. I don't think he's had a fully, a professional game. I think he's played some under 21 games, but he's not had a full sort of 90-minute professional game since like April last year. So for me, it just stinks of a bit of a panic signing. That's just my honesty. I'm like, are we going to have another one who's just going to join Amari Bell and Reece Burke in the physio room? I mean, what's your thoughts? Is that concern you, his lack of game time?
And there's 2 things. Firstly, Nathan said that Bell's injury is nowhere near as bad as it looked, so thank God for that. And it sounds like Reece Burke and probably Kane Ramsey are both back for Saturday as well. So that defensive, we'll get to it later, but that defensive line all of a sudden doesn't look quite so horrific. Welcome to January, right? If you're fit, you're playing every week in the Championship, but no one's telling you. So you either take a risk going down to League One and getting someone hoping they can make the step up, don't really want to do that again, or you sign someone from a championship side who is, who maybe isn't a perfect signing on paper. I think if he's coming to play right centre back, which allows Reece Burke to kind of move into central centre back or whatever it is, I can live with that. Or if you're moving Kane Ramsey out to the right side, I can live with that. If he's coming to play right wing back, I'd have more of an issue with it. He doesn't sound like someone that's perennially injury prone. He sounds like he had one bad injury. He's played a couple of games. The under-21s have been absolutely fine. Supposedly he's match fit from those games, so it's not like there might be some rust. But we are in the position that we're in. If you're signing people in January, they're going to have things that you don't particularly necessarily want. But as I say, it doesn't sound like he's a perennially injured player. It just sounds like he's been unlucky in the last couple of months. Before that, it's pretty clean bill of health. And actually, they've got 4 right backs, Ipswich. That's why he's not getting in the squad, according to their fans. They're saying that we just have so many right backs that he's down the pecking order. He should have gone out on loan in the summer. So unless I'm reading that when he first came in, I agreed with you. I went, oh, I don't know. But having read about it now, I'm a little bit less worried that he's chronically injured, because he actually doesn't seem to be.
Yeah, and I think for me, Paul, I'm going to come to you. He does come with a Love Island girlfriend as well. Just saying, so he'll fit right in with Lloyd, won't he?
Lloyd, he will, won't he?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Paul, I think the concern for me was some of Nathan's comments in probably the past week since the Chelsea game, where he's made, I think I shared them on the group with you guys, but he's made some comments about, oh, we haven't got the squad depth, we've got injuries, this, that, and the other. And you're kind of reading those comments and thinking, well, hang on, that's your fault, isn't it? Because you didn't sign the players. And I know sort of Callum's raised it quite a few times about how we didn't sign cover for the left-hand side. And then he's kind of throwing his toys out the pram. Oh, we're injuries, this, that, and the other. And you kind of think to yourself, well, hang on, it's your fault, Nathan. You've kind of wasted money. And I think, tonight we're just going to have a chat about sort of the transfer business in general. But, would a right back potentially, or someone who is right-sided, have been your first priority in this window?
Not particularly. I mean, obviously, I'm with Callum. I don't think you can argue that the left wing back, the left wing is really, or certainly left back even, is a priority. I mean, I think to some extent Nathan says some of that stuff to protect the players. It's like, we're not doing that badly, really, are we? Because we've just got injuries. But I agree, it does sort of grate a bit. And you're right. Again, as others have said on this pod many times, yeah, I mean, Reece and Amari are fantastic players, great ability, proven at the level. But unfortunately, they are somewhat injury prone. So, and I say he would have known that. I mean, he's obviously got history with them going back a number of years. So it is kind of frustrating. But certainly, I guess, right-hand side, well, we're not sure, are we, what's going on with James Bree. So I think, I've seen rumours, and they may just be that he is probably returning to Southampton after Saturday, in which case, Harry is a good addition. I'm not sure if Harry takes sort of set pieces or not, or corners, because we could certainly do with that. That may not be a particular string to his bow, but yeah, no, right-hand side wouldn't have been my priority, but equally he does look, again, proven at this level. I'm just a bit concerned. I mean, I know, Callum, what you said about not being quite so worried about sort of a potential injury history. I've seen some really positive comments about Harry from Ipswich fans, and he was quite an integral part, I think, of their 23-24 promotion team. But there's always that little glaring, doom-laden 6-word caveat: if you can keep him fit. I've seen that a few times, among some really, really positive comments from the particular posters. So he's not played, I think, mostly because he's fourth in line, I think, in their defence. So that's why he hasn't played, rather than any sort of injury concerns. But the fact that he's not played more than, as you say, a few sort of under 21s or whatever, means that if we are going to push him, I kind of worry. I mean, I don't see him necessarily starting. Or if he does, maybe 60 minutes or something like that, just to get him, first few times. There's no doubt he's got quality. Same as Dykes. We'll talk about Dykes obviously separately, but I was heartened to see it. But again, when a team that's actually in your division is sort of kind of quite happy to loan you a player, You know, I always have my suspicions, but as I say, you know, they have got a surfeit of really good players. So I guess I can understand it from that point of view. So yeah, looking forward to it. But I've still got this, you know, little thing in my mind, particularly given what's happened this season so far with injuries, that, you know, he's going to play blinding for about half an hour, then suddenly crash and burn, and that'll be him for the season. I hope it's not the case, but you know, there's always that worry, isn't there, from a sort of scarred fan base, that you're going to have this, you're going to see this quality player and think, oh, he's great, he's going to serve us well for the rest of the season, then suddenly it all goes pear-shaped. So I hope I'm wrong. I hope my cup is only half full and it should be overflowing. But that's just my worry. But that's just me, I suppose.
Yeah, and I think we haven't got the greatest record of signing players from Ipswich. If I think of Matt Penny and Freddie Ladapo, so
did you have to say that? Yeah, I mean, hopefully this will buck the trend, Emma. But you know, as I say, you're right to be probably a little bit cautious. I think.
Are you trying to tell me you've forgotten about the legend that is the Gas Man?
Oh, of course. Sorry, how could we have done? How could I have done that? Sorry, you're quite right, Callum.
Ipswich, yeah. And Scott Fraser, if you've known me a long time, you'll know that I absolutely detested him.
To be fair, he wasn't any good at Ipswich either.
Yeah, here's another one. Yeah,
good agent.
I was a big fan of Panucci Kamara. Just another one that was a little injury prone. So, but an absolute quality player at his prime. So yeah, look, we wish Harry all the best, but we'll see what he's got. But I really have no enthusiasm, bearing in mind he came from Ipswich. Although Chris has just said to me that Herman and Matty Holland came from Ipswich. Yep. We go back a few years there, Chris. Yep. I mean, more recent additions from Ipswich have been pretty atrocious. I just remember us all singing at Stevenage, if Penny can play for Charlton,
the best
so
thing we
can
bought
I.
from Ipswich, right there, the best thing we bought from Ipswich. We basically went and ransacked them when they were in administration. I was doing something with Benjamin Bloom on Monday, and he went to me.
Yeah, blimey.
Yeah. He went to me. He was like, "Yeah, you guys have taken a bunch of bad players off us," and he was like, "Frankly, considering how you basically were like vultures to our dead carcass when we were in administration, you can go and beep off." So,
fair enough.
Yeah, but they're recent players they gave us, and Freddie Ladapo being the peak, you know, as Josh, bless his heart, will know, being sat with him at the Player of the Year dinner. Oh, I think you were as well, Paul, weren't you? And
yeah, that's right. He said, "I'll come on the Chronicles," and he defriended him straight away after the meal, I think. Yeah, but he did a John Terry, didn't he? When they won the championship, he was out there in his kit or whatever, giving it large, or his shirt anyway. But when he'd done absolutely nothing, I think he scored a couple of goals, but that was about it. So, but there you go.
Yeah.
Good luck to him.
Hey ho. So anyway, we will move on to today's signing, which I think a lot of us knew was coming. Bit surprised it was a permanent, but it's only a permanent until the end of the season. Bit of a 50-50 split on this pod, because I know two of us are not that keen on it, and it'll be the two that are on the left-hand side of your screen that are not keen on it, and the two on the right are not so, you know, or more enthused by it. So Steve, I'll come to you first with your thoughts, because I know, like me, you're not. I'm not exactly thrilled by it, but I'm not exactly downbeat about it. I just think it's a strange signing, in my opinion. So, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm underwhelmed. I was underwhelmed at the thought that we potentially might get him, the rumours, and in regards to what
I've seen. Steve.
Oh, am I? Oh, okay. All right.
Does Sid do your production, can you hear me now? Steve? Was that what we're learning on this pod?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, right. Okay, lovely. Sorry about that. Yeah, underwhelmed from the start, to be honest with you. What I've seen with my own eye with this guy, I haven't seen anything that's made me at any point excited about this. As I said, I've got a QPR season ticket holder that said to me that they couldn't wait to get rid of him, and they couldn't believe they got money for him. I've seen Birmingham City fans all over social media going, "Yeah, please take him, please take him, please take him." His goal scoring records is atrocious for Birmingham, and the issue that gets me the most is that it's all right bringing a body in, and it's all right potentially bringing a centre forward in, but do we really need another striker that's going to put 45 games on the board and put 4 goals or 5 goals? I mean, without being disrespectful to the bodies that we've got up front now, you know, the guys are trying. Miles is trying. Charlie's obviously found his place, but there's not enough goals from our centre forwards this season, and that's, you know, it's with, you know, we had conversations about our potential play, etc., but it just looks like another one of the same for me. And Lee Byrne's playing well at the moment. You know, he's holding the ball up, he's working hard. He just needs to find the net, as you could say with about the other guys. But yeah, I don't get this one. I just don't get it. I would have preferred to potentially seen maybe a speed merchant or someone that's grafting up there, or someone that's got a bit of flair. I just don't get this one, to be honest with you. I genuinely hope that I'm wrong. I really, really do. I hope he comes in and scores a blaze of goals and makes me look like an absolute idiot. I'll put my hands up and say that. But yeah, on the back of that, no excitement for me at all on this one, I'm afraid.
Yeah, no, you know, I think I'm with you. And as you've pulled up about Miles there, I just want to, you know, because I am one that has been really negative about Miles in the past, but I just want to big him up, because at Chelsea I thought he was outstanding, and probably his best game, one of his best games I've seen him in a Charlton shirt. I don't know if it was probably because there were big guys there from other teams. He was released from Chelsea before he came to us, so he was probably out to impress. But if he can put
he was excellent at Blackburn as well the week before.
He was
excellent against Oxford.
Oh yeah,
he was the only game he wasn't really particularly good at was against Coventry in the last 4 or 5. It's a bit harsh to say he's only doing it because of the scouts. I don't think that's necessarily. I think personally, you find the switch. You get used to the speed. It's just development.
I mean, to be fair, Callum, Blackburn was so bloody cold I couldn't feel my feet after 5 minutes. I weren't really taking much notice.
Don't blame you.
Yeah, the pie was
cold.
nice though. The pie was nice though.
It was actually.
Yeah, it was. I had a steak and pepper pie. It was very nice.
So did I.
But Callum, I'm going to come to you, because obviously I know we've spoken about the striker options that we have. Now, obviously, if we do get the left wing back in, you know, Tyrese automatically becomes a spare, doesn't he? And then we've got Godden coming back, we've got Kelman, we've got Lee Byrne, we've got Tanto. Who am I missing out here? Have I missed anyone?
Kelman.
I said Kelman. But we've got quite a few striking options there. And I think, you know, the weirdest thing is when we look at our strikers, I think Miles has 2 or 3 in all competitions. Tanto has 1. I think Charlie's got 3, maybe.
4.
But has he got 4?
It's 4.
Sorry, yeah, he scored 2 at Blackburn, didn't he?
Yeah.
But what do you think is going to happen with our strikers? Because can you see Miles and Lyndon rotating, and then obviously it'd be Kelman or Godden, and it's basically Tyrese and Tanto going to get pushed out the picture?
Well, I mean, I think it's pretty simple. I think that it's and I know I'm on this podcast, I have to be careful what I say about this, but I think it's pretty blatantly obvious that Tanto is the odd man out here. If you listen to Nathan Jones speak, doesn't mean I necessarily agree with it, but I think it's pretty obvious they're going to they'll send him on loan. Although he was saying today, we're not going to just let guys go on loan because they want to. It's going to be, we're going to keep ourselves covered. The one thing with Dykes is, and look, the Dykes signing's not sexy. It doesn't get, you know, it doesn't get the blood flowing. It's not like, oh, I can't wait to watch Lyndon Dykes play. But what he can do is basically the same sort of job that Lee Byrne can do. So what you can do is you can have Kelman and Lee Byrne for 65 minutes, and then you can play Godden and Dykes for 25 minutes, and you've got actually quite a similar front two all the way through. If you're playing someone you need to press a bit higher, you can play TC instead of one or the other. So it just gives you more options up front. It's not the sort of signing that I sit here and I go, oh, I can't wait. But Dykes has a reason to play well, right? The World Cup's in the summer. Scotland don't have a third choice striker. If he wants to go with Scotland, he's going to have to prove his worth. He has been in the Scottish team a number of times. You know, if he wants to keep playing for his country, although he is Aussie, then he's got to make that happen. I would warn, though, he's actually more like Miles than you think in terms of he's not the reason probably, Steve, you watch him and go, oh, nothing exciting here, is he's not particularly dominant. You think he would be, but he's not. He's actually better with the ball at his feet. So he's one of those weird players, again, if actually you're going to basically see him basically do a carbon copy of Lee Byrne's stand between the goal and the halfway line, try and knock the ball down so that someone can go and win the second ball. In terms of outputs for strikers, I hate to use the Nathan Jones phrase of I think everybody thought he was joking, but he wasn't. He was like, if we're in 10th and Thomas Kaminski's my top scorer, that's absolutely fine by me. So do I agree with that? No. Do I think we need a goal scorer? Yeah, I do. And do I think Kelman can be that? Actually, kind of. I think he's grown on me quite a lot. But I just think that we can sit here as fans and go, I want to go and buy a flair player and a speedster. And, there was a long time I really wanted number 10. But if I look at it, I'm just like, you know what? I have no control over that. I can just watch it and say that's what he's going to try and do. We're going to try and basically shut up shop. Might be really difficult to beat. Got a lot of home games coming up. Try and win the big moments and try and basically scrimp enough points to get over the line, which thankfully the championship is so bad this year that we may stay up by default anyway. Would it shock anybody if Portsmouth go Sheffield Wednesday their second win of the season after this weekend, after they gave them their first last week, about 4 months ago? No. It's just not a very good league. And so it's one of those where if we beat Sheffield United and West Brom lose tomorrow, we go above them, right? So there's a lot of sides kind of in and around us. So I think it's just scrimp and try and get yourself to 16th. And if you get yourself there, you're fine. And then you get to the summer and then you can do sort of open heart surgery on that squad and try and progress it. But that's what Nathan did at Luton. So, Dykes has been in relegation battles with QPR. He's never gone down. He's very, very good at just being a bit of a battler and a crawler and a whatever. And it's funny, Steve, you said about QPR fans, because the other manager very, very interested in Lyndon Dykes was Marty Cifuentes at Leicester, who had him at QPR. Why? Because he's a grafter and a whatever, and managers who play that style of football like to have that player. It doesn't mean it's the type of football that you and I like to watch. But it worked for QPR. They kept finishing basically low and mid-table for 3 years through financial difficulties. So, I think that's why he's doing it. Do I agree with it? I wish I wasn't playing that type of football, but, we are where we are. And at the moment, if I'm in the championship by the time we get to the summer, I'll be happy with that. And then I expect to sort of progress from there.
Yeah, no, some really good points there, Callum. And Paul, I'm going to come to you because obviously we just sort of briefly spoke about Tanto there, but, our two of our biggest signings in the summer were Tanto and Rob Apter.
Yep.
Now, that's £3.5 million worth of talent
Mm-hmm.
that we signed. So two of our biggest signings, apart from Kelman,
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to get game time by the looks of it. I mean, for me, I was very frustrated not to see Apter maybe get a shot at the Chelsea game. I felt we really had nothing to lose in that game. And I know Callum spoke a lot about, he wanted to see a changed team. He didn't want to see the first team up there to, yeah.
I agree with you.
To risk players. So it would have been a perfect opportunity to see Harvey, and we could even talk about Harvey as well, would have been a perfect opportunity to see Harvey, to see Tanto get a proper run out, and maybe to see Rob get a run out.
Yeah.
So what is, and I mean, if you look at Harvey as well, he's up there with one of our top goal scorers, but he's barely played at all. So what happens to those three players in this window? I mean, it's very harsh for me. I mean, I'm a big Tanto fan, as you know.
Yeah.
It's very harsh for me that I don't think he's been given a fair shot. Yeah, he's had a few sub appearances. A lot of those have been late on. Has he really been able to impose himself? Probably not. Apter's gone from winning Player of the Month to just being dropped like a sack of spuds.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'll ever work that one out. And Harvey Nibbs has gone from being a midfield maestro with Reading last season, scoring 16 goals, and he's sat on the bench every week. So where do those three players go from here? Can you see them going out on loan? Can you see them wanting to stay and push for a start? What do you think is going to happen?
I mean, I think with Tanto, he is kind of going towards the back of the queue now, isn't he? So I can see him possibly going out on loan. I'd be disappointed if one or other of Rob and Harvey went out, to be fair. I think Rob has been slightly hard done by, but I think talking about things in the round, I guess to some extent, maybe Nathan's been a bit spooked as time's gone on. You know, we started off like a train, didn't we? And then whether it's an element of people finding us out to some extent, and then Nathan kind of went into his shell a bit. I mean, we played quite expansively the first sort of 4 or 5 games that Rob started. And then, of course, we ran into, you know, Southampton and Borough and whatever. And I think that's probably had quite a profound effect on, well, not just the players, on Nathan. So I do think that Rob's got far more defensive qualities than maybe he's been given credit for. But given his size, given the role he was playing, I'm not sure that it really stacks up at the moment, really. I think, and we will talk about Dykes, obviously, in a bit myself, but and then Harvey is almost a luxury player, but then, as you say, he has scored goals. I mean, he scored that goal at Culver away, scored at Watford first game of the season, and I forget where else he scored. But you know, there's a quality player in there. But again, I mean, we say these people need to adjust to the level, but then if you're not getting the opportunity to adjust to said level, then it becomes very difficult, doesn't it? So I have every sympathy for all 3 of those players. But if we're going to talk about going on loan, then I think probably Tanto is the one, because he's really at the back of quite a long queue, particularly now that Lyndon Dykes has arrived. I still think there's a role for both Rob and Harvey to play, but it will be more likely off the bench, as it has been more recently. But yeah, going back to Chelsea, I mean, that was the ideal opportunity, wasn't it, to play some of those kind of fringe players. And yeah, we were never going to win it. We were never going to win the cup, obviously. So, you know, why not? Again, I wonder whether in Nathan's mind it was like, we want to, you know, not be overrun. So again, that was in his mind. I don't think, I certainly wouldn't have minded if we'd have gone down fighting, you know, 5-1, but we'd have taken it to them. And we kind of didn't. We did quite well the first half. And then when Miles scored that goal, we had the opportunity to try and keep things tight. But again, it's just, you know, it was a cup tie. They were head and shoulders above us. So why not just get all the subs on, give them about, you know, 20 minutes at least, and see where we are, and at least, you know, give them a chance. But it was all a bit a shame. I think partly maybe when Nathan bought, I'm assuming that he had big input into getting those players in. Maybe in his mind he hoped that we could, you know, play some expansive football in the Championship, which probably isn't really Nathan's DNA anyway. So yeah, we've asked this question on the pod. You know, why did he buy Harvey? Why did he buy Rob if he's not going to play them? And yeah, I don't know. It is a bit of a mystery, basically. But I mean, you didn't ask me about Dykes, but I'll tell you anyway. I'm absolutely buzzing because he's not prolific, but you know, we need people to scrap and get us out of where we are. Miles is coming on. Miles is really improving in that regard. You know, not being bullied and all the rest of it. I think he played really well against Chelsea and as you said, against Blackburn. But Lyndon Dykes has played so many games at the level, and he's not prolific, but he's not a clogger either. And I think we need that sort of nous. We need someone who's versed in those dark arts, as they call them. And I think that will help us. I wasn't, you know, it came out of the blue a bit until the rumours started circulating a few days ago. But I'm really happy with it. You know, he's not going to get us, you know, even sort of 5 goals probably for the rest of the season, but he's going to do a job. And we've been losing the psychological battle, I feel, to some extent. So he's going to come in there, and there's no F's given. You know, he's played at the level, he's played international football. He's the kind of guy that just, you know, goes there. I think he's 30 now, isn't he? So he's pretty much a veteran. He's been around. He'll just scrap. He'll play for the shirt. I think it's a cheap, short-term signing. You know, if we don't keep him beyond the end of the season, fine. As long as he helped keep us in the division, great. It's not a sexy signing, as you said, but I still feel, you know, I'm actually quite excited about it. And I know obviously Steve and others have said, you know, there's been some negative about him, but you know, I think it's a really good sort of plug and play player, really. I'm not sure if he's going to start, but I think he can certainly be an impact player off the bench for sure. I'm really quite excited. I think it wasn't a priority, but he was there. We went and got him. He seems happy to be here. So, you know, good luck to him. I hope he can really make a difference. I think he will.
Yeah, some good points there. And Steve, I'll come to you next. I know you're having a bit of trouble with your signal there. But looking at obviously the players that are not getting minutes, like I've said, £3.5 million worth of talent there. Do you think the recruitment in the summer was just really poorly done? And do you think maybe we could be having a less, maybe money-wise window because maybe the owners don't believe that Nathan Jones got the recruitment right in the summer? So we're trying to just get players in on cheap, like loans, and we're basically scraping the barrel and getting what we can because he didn't spend the money wisely in the summer.
I'm not so sure. I mean, I liked the signings at the time, and I think the run that we had at the start of the season. I think we saw a fantastic little player in Apter. We saw Charlie obviously hadn't got the goals, but his performances were great. Bell came in and did fantastically well. I think there was a lot to be positive about, from the players that we got. And I know there was the old cliches about the ex-Nathan Jones players, etc., etc. And even to a lesser extent, when Bree came in, he came in, hit the ground running and made things happen. And I think we've been a little bit unlucky in regards to a few of those that have been injured out of those. I think Bell was a big miss. I'm a big Tanto fan, and I'm really gutted that he hasn't played more, to be honest with you. But yeah, the whole Apter thing is obviously a Jones thing that they've had there. It's either not a good fit for the system, or it's a personal thing that's potentially happened there. I probably would have said when we were doing great and we were in fifth place that the owners probably looked at the situation and thought completely the opposite of what was just said there. They probably looked at it and thought, wow, we've done really, really well here. We can chuck some more money at this either in January, or we can really go for it next season. But I think on the back of bad form, some injuries, and the team sort of taking a drop in performance, that's probably more of a thing than the actual players themselves. But yeah, I mean, in hindsight, you can look at the situation now and say that if you've got a lot of £3.5 million worth of talent on the bench and it's not being used, then what was the point? I think that's easy to say that. In hindsight, not so easy. But yeah, I hope that they don't think massively ill of Jones in regards to the signings, because that could cause a sort of domino effect in the board not trusting Jones not wanting to be at the club, blah blah blah. We might end up going down again. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. But yeah, signings are hit and miss at the best of times, aren't they? And I think we got some right this summer, and I think we got some wrong.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Callum, finally with you with the transfers, just what do you really make sort of the window? I know obviously you was very disappointed in the summer that we didn't sign another left-sided defender. What do you think's happened with the Apter and with the Tanto sort of signings? And not just that, but we've also got people in the chat. Chris has asked what's happening with Hernandez. Well, I can tell you what's happening with Hernandez. He's making the players bald on Snapchat filters and posting them on his TikTok. And Ruslan, who, he signed, and Nathan, he gives it the big I am about, oh, he's great, he's played this, he's played that. He's not even been on the, he's not even stepped a foot on the pitch for us this season. So, again, two absolutely pointless signings. So, what do you make of that, really?
Well, to be fair with Ruslan, they did make it very clear that they were taking a big, massive risk. Because that is the position on the pitch is the hardest to get fit for, because you have to go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And if he hasn't played a game since April and you're trying to get him fit in a 2-month period, in a 6-week period, good luck. And they sort of said that. They said, look, we're going to try it, right? We want to keep him around. We want to try it. It hasn't worked. I can't imagine he's going to be on huge amounts of money if it's just one of those sorts of contracts. Hernandez didn't work either. I said it at the time, not signing Jamal Lewis was really stupid. The moment that Josh Edwards went down, there was a left wing back available. They decided not to do that. Maybe Jamal Lewis didn't want to come back down south, but then again, I think he's from Norwich, so I don't really understand that either. But I think that transfers, it's always 50-50, right? 50% of hit rate is a good rate. And I don't know if we've quite gotten there. I think that with Apter, no one has been more harmed, firstly, by Josh Edwards being injured, because then no one's been more harmed by Ken Ramsey getting that red card against Millwall, because basically he got kicked out of the team. James Bree turned into Roberto Carlos on the right side for 2 months, for a month and a half, whatever it was, and he couldn't get back in. But by the time he was ready to come back in, you didn't have a defensive player on the left-hand side. So if you play them together, you're going to get completely overrun. We tried it with Bree and him again. We tried it against Southampton, a complete disaster. So it's difficult. I actually think that Apter probably benefits from having Dykes in there because there's anyone that can get on the end of a cross. If you're going to stick one in the box, that's what Lyndon Dykes does. Go look at pretty much every goal he scored from Birmingham came with his head. So at the end of games, you have that option. I think that I was excited by Nibs. He scores the goals, but when he does play, he keeps getting run around. He wasn't fit when he came in. Players run around him. He can't tackle in the middle. You can't play him with Carey because if you play Carey deep, Carey can't tackle and Carey won't pass. So you can't play him as an 8. Carey started like a house on fire, and I think that sort of changed the window a bit in people's minds. Unfortunately, team sort of sussed out if I sit someone deeper, he wants to drive and won't pass. So they've sort of figured out if I just sit in front of you, you're not going to go wide anyway. And if you do, you've got James Bree who can't beat the first man on one side, and the other side is one of your academy kids or Ozona Hernandez at that point, right? The goalkeeper, like I say, 6 out of 10, fine. You know, he's made mistakes, but actually I think he's been fine. Stats say he's been fine. Gets a lot of criticism at times, which I don't think is necessarily fair. The other times doesn't. You know, the other times the criticism is 100% fair. Stoke away. But, you know, Reece Burke, as I say, Ferrari 26,000 miles on it. Fantastic when it runs. It will break down at some point. It sounds like the Blackburn injury, he felt something, and actually they've kind of had a look at it and go, no, you're fine. I think the plan was always to rest him against Chelsea anyway. Lamari Bell, when he's fit, again, fantastic player when he's fit. But what happened? We got injured on the left-hand side, had to move him to left wing back. His hamstring went once. What happens when your hamstring goes once? Your hamstring's going to keep going until you give it the time to fully rest, but we can't fully rest him. So it reminds me a lot of that Luton team from last year where they were running around with one fit centre-back at times. And you got the poor goalkeeper. It's the same guy standing there going, I have one centre-back that's fit. And at that point, you know, I'm sure Mark's in here and we've chatted about it many times, but, you know, at that point, maybe you go to a 4, but then I go, and who on earth are you playing at left back? And you have the same question. But that one position has had this massive cascading effect. Now, they've said they're talking about to 4 teams about left backs. One is going to come in, but that completely unbalanced everything else around it. And then that, I think, is why we're sort of in this position. If you go to a 4, you've got too many centre-backs. You've got multiple centre-backs that can't play in a 4. You know, the idea of Pemmican Gillespie in a 4 at the back terrifies me. Right? And that's not his fault. It's just he can't do it. He doesn't have the ability to cover that space. Right? Midfield, yeah, Jaron Costa actually lately has come across. Come good. Thank God for that. But, you know, you look across and you go, like, if I come into a season and I'm playing some of these players at this level, you can't play expensive football. You just can't because you don't have the players to do it. And that's why you've got to lean into this for now and just get through it and basically do what Nathan Jones did when we were in League One and you replaced Appleton, which is basically hunker down, get enough points, get comfortably away from the relegation zone. And then you get to that summer and then you can do the Gordon's wages come off, Berry's wages come off. You know, you can just get, you know, you can get rid of players. You know, I'm not going to name them because it's mean, but you know, you can let players go, and then at that point you can do the open heart surgery that you need to do to kind of progress further.
Yeah, and I was talking to Russ from the Scarf Bagora War podcast. If people don't know who that is, that's Stockport County podcast.
Yeah, Stockport one.
And there has been rumours about Tanto going back to them. Speaking to Russ would absolutely love Tanto to go back to them, and as I think most of their fans would. They also said, could they take Apter as well? And I did make a joke and say, could you take Nathan Jones as well? And he was like, no, I do not want that fruitcake. But, you know, I would be very sad to see Tanto go. I don't think he has been given a fair shot at this club. But I think going back to Stockport where he's loved and adored and maybe he can get his confidence back wouldn't be a bad thing for him either. So whatever happens with him, I hope it's in his best interests, really. But I will miss him, which means I'm going to have to buy a new bloody scarf if he does go. Which is
Don't worry, Emma. I will get you a Tyrese Campbell scarf. Right. No, but just to
I've got enough toilet paper, mate. You're all right.
Wow. No, the one thing I would say about Tanto though is that we are talking a little bit like we're going to his funeral. The lad is walking around smiling and laughing and joking and whatever. He doesn't seem to be being miserable. I just think
no,
again,
but you'd want to play though, Callum, wouldn't you? You know, you've.
You would do, but if I was a striker, I wouldn't be missing 4 1-on-1s in a row, right? That is the issue. Is everything around it is right, but that's the one skill that I mean, forget loan to Stockport. Can I loan him to a shooting academy, to a football shooting academy where they just focus strikers and just say shoot at goal for 500 times, 500 times a day? Because it's just, I don't quite understand how you can be a striker and be that unable to finish in front of goal. Like, for example, if the goal, and I'm just going to use it as an example, right? If the one that Tyree scores at Birmingham would drop to Tanto, does anybody think that wouldn't have ended up in Rosette? Right?
No, I think he would have scored it. Miles don't get nowhere near enough stick for that miss. It was horrendous.
I didn't say about Miles. I said Tyree's goal. I said the goal when it drops, right? Because Tanto rushes quite often. He doesn't take the extra touch. He doesn't.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about Miles.
No. That miss was dreadful. That miss was dreadful. I'm not. Whatever. That fine. And I gave Lee bonus whatever for the miss against Coventry as well, right? But what I would say is that goal. That's the sort of thing that you need. Is you need the ability to kind of have the game almost stop around you. You survey around. You'll see Gordon do it all the time, right? He'll stop, almost like the game will stop around him. He'll just tuck it into whatever the open space is, and that's. I don't know. I'm not a striker. I'm sure people in the comments have been strikers can explain that. I was a goalkeeper, right? I don't know if you can teach that or not, and that I think is why we are where we are. It's not that I don't like Tanto. I do. I think he does a lot of things really well. But it's just that bit, and it's that worry of the one that dropped at Middlesbrough, right? It's a 3/4 chance, but you look at that and you come back from 2-0 down against the team second in the league. Does that change the entire trajectory? Instead, it ends up, almost out of the covered end, and that's that's why is that managers lose trust in you if you don't in the moments perform, and that especially with a manager like this who is so moments focused.
Do you know what though? I will use a comparison, and they're two very different players, but I see Tanto as like more of a Dan Carnu kind of player. I don't think Tanto is a out-and-out 9 as such. Like, he's very... You watch him run down the wing, he's really, really quick, and I think, I don't see him as an out-and-out striker, but...
Inside forward, potentially. You could, like a left forward... So you could, if you went to 3 up front, you could do it that way, go one.
Yeah, that's the thing. So I don't see him as an out-and-out. I don't see him as an out-and-out striker, and I've seen the qualities that he does have and how he can beat players. So, it's a shame that there isn't a place for him in the team. I mean, we don't know what Jones's plans are, but obviously if he does go out on loan, hopefully it'll boost his confidence up, and I'm sure he'll take it on board.
That's what we all want to see, isn't it? Is that you do want him to be a good player for... none of what I said is meant to be like a criticism of him as a, and by all accounts, he seems like a fantastic team. I've had my things with some of Apter's behaviour off the pitch that I haven't liked. Tanto's not been like that. Nibs hasn't been like that. Joe Rankin Costello definitely wasn't like that. I thought Joe Rankin Costello did himself a bad disservice by not going into the manager. But he has been a consummate professional, Tanto, and you hope that it comes good for him. He seems like a really good guy. You want it to work. It's just how do we get it to work for him, and can we make that happen? And that's the, I'm going to shut up now. Sorry, everybody.
Yeah, and also to add to that, I think he's the coldest man on planet Earth. If you ever see Tanto warm up, it's actually hilarious. He'll have like his tracksuit on, a coat, hat, scarf. He's the coldest man on planet Earth. Right, so we will move on from the transfer window to talk about Sheffield United on Saturday. So, Steve, I'll start with you. What, obviously with the new signings coming in, what would you like to see from us on Saturday as in terms of lineup?
It's a tough one, this one, and I think that's going to be what the game is going to be. I think this is a tricky game for us, this one. They've got a bit of form back now. They've got a very experienced manager in charge. I think it's going to be a tough one. The left side's a problem again, isn't it? I've got to be honest with you. I'd rather not see Gillespie play on Saturday. So how we work around that, I don't know. Maybe the new guy comes in the centre half. But yeah, that's a definite issue. I'm sure that Dykes will get some part of the game on Saturday to sort of bed himself in and get accustomed to the fans and the club and his teammates. I just hope that we're a bit more positive on Saturday. It's going to be a tricky game. They've had some terrible games this season, but they found a bit of form. But we're at home. I don't want to say that word that Jones always used about being on the front foot. But yeah, I do genuinely hope that we go out in the game with a bit of attacking prowess, a bit of devilment. We sort of push them back rather than sort of playing it safe. But yeah, if I'm being brutally honest with you, yeah, a team that can compete. I'd like to see Rankin Costello back in the middle of the park. I think we potentially need him to survive in this league now. But yeah, I'll take a draw.
Yeah, and Paul, what about you?
Yeah, I don't know on the left side. I mean, obviously, Evie Fuller did well doing it against Blues. I wonder if you put Ibby in there, Harry Clark, because obviously Breeze is potentially Breeze's last game, isn't it?
Mm.
So whether they put him on, keep him on the right hand side, put shuffle Lloyd across and put Harry in, sort of right centre back or whatever. Yeah, I'd agree. JRC, I'd like to see JRC come in. Yeah, I mean Miles and Charlie, I think to me could pick themselves. I'd love to see Lyndon Dykes at some point. I'm sure he'll come on if we need him. And then in the middle of the park, I presume he'll maybe carry on with Sonny, and obviously Cobb picks himself. So yeah, I mean, again, as Steve said, we just need to really just go front footed. I think we were actually at Bramwell Lane in the deluge. We were pretty front footed, weren't we? So I think we need to do that. As I say, a lot of it's just psychological more than anything else. It's about kind of imposter syndrome, inferiority complexes and all that sort of thing. And we need to be going out there believing that we're as good as the people or better than the people we're playing. And I think we've kind of lost that. We've had those sort of 4 or 5 really bad results and they're all pretty shell shocks. We seem to have recovered a bit. Forget Chelsea, that was, they were obviously miles better than us. So that's a sort of an outlier. Bamford, obviously, I'm worried about. That was a really good acquisition from them. I mean, part of it, I suppose, was convenience because he didn't have to move. Having been at Leeds for so long. So, he's wily. I never thought he was much of he never really did it at Prem level, did he? But he was certainly Championship. He's more than proven. He's got plenty of goals. So I'm sort of worried about that. Obviously, Callum O'Hare's playing well. They actually had Hamer on the bench. And I'm not sure if he'd been injured previously, but any team that can have Hamer on the bench has obviously got a pretty good first 11. So yeah, Wilder's got them playing. We played them. It was his first game back, wasn't it, when we played them at Bramwell Lane. So he's got them playing. They'll love him. He's a Sheffield boy, a United fan. So it's all looking pretty good. Obviously, they lost against Mansfield. I can't remember how many players they must have probably had wholesale changes. So again, bit of an outlier. So yeah, it's going to be really difficult. So if we come out with a draw, I'll be more than happy. If we can get a Nathan Jones shithouse 1-0, as Callum always talks about, then great. But we can't afford to lose. We want to keep up some momentum going forward. And but I'm looking forward to seeing Lyndon Dykes creating a bit of havoc, hopefully at some point. But yeah, happy if we get sort of a draw, 1-1 draw, then I'll be more than happy, I think.
Yeah, and Callum, what about you? Can I just also say that I'm really hoping to actually be able to see this Saturday because I could not see a thing at the Chelsea game. There's just way too many people. So yeah, Callum, what you looking for, and obviously your result prediction as well.
I think a lot of it comes down to who's available on the left-hand side, and then it's a question of who's available at centre-back. As I say, if Burke and Ramsey are both fit, it makes life easier. People aren't going to believe I'm about to do this, but actually, they play a 3-4-2-1 Sheffield United, and they play a right wing-back. If it's Hover who starts, he's right-footed. And everyone knows that what I think when you have a right footer on that side, you could play Apter at left wing-back there, because he's always going to try and go down the outside. So you could decide to make that a more attacking left-hand side. Again, without Bell, do you want to do it? Although we didn't I'm not sure, but you could do that. I think what I'm looking for is just one to win a game. I think that these home games are so important. I'm actually quite amazed that it's not toxic at all. That home games, considering some of the drop off in form, but there's just really none. I think that I want to compete. Want to really be part of it. I'd like to see some of the injured lads, see who's there. I mean, Nathan Jones was saying to himself, it's the biggest squad I've had training all season, so there clearly are players back on the training pitch. But it's a home form that will keep us up now. And you got to look at that. Yes, you've got Sheffield Wednesday away, and yes, you have Oxford away. But if you get yourself on a good home run, you can beat Pompey and Norwich at home. All of a sudden, you've got Swansea away as well. I don't expect us to get anything on the final day. I'd much rather not have to think about needing something there. But you look at that and you go, look, if you can beat Norwich at home, Pompey at home, maybe Derby at home, we're a bit in and out at times, and play Eustace's football, which is pretty grim to watch as well. All of a sudden, you're looking for 7 or 8 wins here. You're not looking for, crazy number. I know that you were mentioning earlier, Paul, that, Harry Clark, how many games, but we've only got 20 games left, right? I need between him and Burke to get me 20 games. Can you each play 10? And if we can do that, then it may end up being a great signing. If you play 10 games and then fall apart, I don't care. Give me the 10 games. Right? So, yeah, I'd like to see Dykes as match fit, clearly. He's been playing. So we'll see, get him maybe 10, 15 minutes to get into it. But he could also be really great, actually, to be fair, for completely shithousing our way at the end of the game. Because the guy is a dark arts master, which we kind of missed with Hilton not there. Sounds a bit weird, but yeah, I mean, I'll take a 2-1. I don't know why I think we're going to score 2. They can't defend. We know that. They've got Tanganga and then 2 statues, and it's a centre back. I'll go 2-1. I'm just hoping that that they throw in one of their poor performances, because this is the team that's top of the form league at the moment. They're the most informed team in the division. So, it's a tough ask. It's maybe the best manager in the division, right? It's a really difficult game. But yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I think I would gladly take a draw as well. I'm probably with Steve and with Paul on that. I would probably gladly take a draw, like you've said, against the most informed team in the division. Great. I've just got to read this out because this has made me laugh. So Mark has said, we have to start going toe-to-toe with teams now, with the likes of JRC and Nibs featuring heavily. We are watching crap football while conceding a bundle. Something has to change. Ain't that the truth? The football is horrific to watch. I actually don't ever remember, even when we were losing like loads in League One, I don't ever remember the football being this atrocious to watch. Honestly, it's horrific. I do not enjoy it at all.
I raised the end of Johnny Jackson's reign, which was awful.
Oh yeah, that was probably
And but I raised Michael Appleton almost at any point. Actually, I can think of in that 21 game. Doesn't matter which one you want to pick. Feel free. There's a number of them.
Johnny Jackson, to be fair, played this formation, so.
He played it more as he played it more as a very flat back 5. It was pretty grim.
And then Mark, I think is this one for you, Callum. It's all the happy clappers at the Valley, Callum. Look at where we were a year ago.
Wait, where were we a year ago?
Just happy clappers everywhere. Happy.
I'm not a happy clapper. I'll
no, you're not. No,
I'm not a happy clapper.
It's all right. It's all right because they won't all be there this Saturday, so don't worry. But anyway, that is it for us for tonight, because I've got to close it up because I'm going to go and watch a new series of Love Island. So guys, thanks for watching as always, and thanks for bearing with us while I unfortunately was a little bit well and we've had to do a few reschedules. Hopefully we will be back on Sunday to review the Sheffield United game and look forward to the Derby game, which I believe is next Tuesday. So we will be back, and that could be the return of Corey Blackett-Taylor as well, who I see played in their last game. So we will see you guys on Sunday, and we might see you at the Valley on Saturday. So thanks for watching, guys. Take care, and we will see you soon.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers all.